Hello and welcome to Campus Cooking. My name is Jeremy and today we're going to be making a traditional Indian flatbread called naan. It's actually very easy to make and you can make quite a bit of it with a fairly tight budget for most college students. The main ingredients, well the entire ingredients are going to be plain yogurt, active dry yeast, some salt, some sugar, some water, some olive oil, and some flour, and then a little butter to brush on the bread after it's done. So you're going to take 3/4 a cup of warm water, so I have the warm water right here, and put that in a bowl, 1 teaspoon of your active dry yeast, and you're going to put that in the bowl, and then just sort of mix that up a little bit, and you're going to let this sit for about 10 minutes or until the yeast and water bath starts to get frothy on top. Okay, so let's begin making the dough. So we're going to start by combining the wet ingredients and the dry ingredients separately, and then we'll mix those together. And now we're going to mix our wet ingredients. Okay, so we're mixing the dough with the wet ingredients, and as it starts to turn into a ball, then we are going to lightly flour our hands and then knead it. We'll take a damp tea towel and we will place this over the bowl, and then we're going to set this aside somewhere that's warm. Okay, so now that our dough has risen, it's been about 3 hours, and as you can see, the dough is probably doubled in size, maybe not quite, but we don't use a lot of active dry yeast for this. So now that it has risen, we're going to take it out, and we're going to cut it into pieces so we can put it into individual discs. So we'll just pull it out here. Put it onto a cutting board. So from this point on, we will then cut it into discs. So I just want to make one cut here. Take that dough, put it into a ball, and then set that aside. And then we'll just keep on going until we have about 6 discs. Okay, so now that the dough is in little balls for us to flatten out into discs to cook, we can go ahead and start flattening them. So we're going to need more flour to make sure that it doesn't stick to our surface. So we'll add a little bit here. We'll take 1 disc, or 1 dough ball. We'll probably want to flour our hands a little bit too here so it doesn't stick to our fingers. Whoa. Okay, so we're going to take the dough, and you could use a rolling pin, but I don't think you really need to. It's a pretty easy dough. It stretches pretty fast. It's not like pizza dough where it's very elastic. So we're going to take the dough like so, add a little more flour to it, and then we're just going to start pressing out like so. Okay, so I have 2 doughs ready to fry, so we're going to head on over to the skillet and get those cooking. So we'll come on over to the griddle. So I have a skillet preheated to about medium high. So you're going to take your dough and you're just going to put it right on. So you're going to cook it for about a minute, maybe even less depending on the temperature. And then you're going to flip it, cook it at probably about 30 seconds to a minute. You'll be able to tell if it's done. I mean, it's a flat dough, so it's going to cook pretty fast. So we're going to take that off and take a little butter. Brush it on, and then after you've brushed it on, you're good to go. Okay, that wraps it up for today. I hope you enjoyed yourself, and I hope you learned a little bit about how to cook something interesting on a college budget. If you have any questions, please email me, and make sure to check out the full recipe on the website. Thank you.